Good morning, multiverse. Hey there, friends and foes. Welcome to Back of the Cereal Box, Back Issue Breakfast Club. I am your host, the prophet of pop culture, John Pyka. This morning, we are going to be reviewing Mighty Morphin, Volume 1, and we are going to do that right after this.
It's like Coca-Cola, Levi Strauss, Johnny Carson and Mickey Mouse. The first star was James Dean, Elvis Presley, and he's still the king. Some things are only imitatable. You can't beat an original. Oh, you can't beat an original.
Welcome back to the Virtual Rec Room. This is Back of the Cereal Box, Back Issue Breakfast Club. I am your host, the prophet of pop culture, John Pyka. You can call me Johnny. And Avengers comic books, Star Wars movies, and Saturday morning cartoons made me who I am today. And we are a pop culture podcast that celebrates the fun of the Saturdays of our youth while navigating adulthood today. And for me, Saturday mornings meant cartoons, comic books, kaiju, kung fu movies, pro wrestling, sometimes board games, hanging out at the pool, and a lot of times it meant getting on the bike and riding down to the convenience store or the local comic book shop and picking up a stack of comics, Coca-Cola, Brock's Red Twist, sitting on the hill, and reading comics all afternoon, and that was our best life. Now, we are called Back of the Cereal Box because when I was a kid, we didn't have smartphones and tablets at the breakfast table on Saturday morning, or any morning for that matter. Instead, in between cartoons, kaiju, and kung fu movies, we were reading the Back of the Cereal Box. That was our newspaper. That was our world. And this morning, I'm eating the shocking orange Halloween Rice Krispies, which has a great game on the back of the cereal box, a trunk or treat maze. But, when you're sitting down with a big bowl of cereal, if you're not watching cartoons, you need to be reading comics. And this morning, we're going to reach into the box and pull out our review of the week, Mighty Morphin by Ryan Parrott, Marco Renna, and Walter Biamonte. Now, I picked this up at the recommendation of my buddy Ryan Permisson. You remember a couple of weeks ago, maybe about a month ago, I posted a review of the Power Rangers Ninja Turtles crossover graphic novel or trade paperback collection. And there's a volume 2 coming out very soon. I loved that book. I really loved it. And what struck me was I was not a Power Rangers fan, and I've not really been a Turtles fan because the cartoons and the TV shows always seemed very silly and juvenile to me and never really appealed to me because of where I was as a college freshman, sophomore when those shows came out. So I was never a fan, and I especially was not a fan of the Power Rangers. But Ryan kept talking about how much he loved them, how great they were, and he was reading these comic series graphic novels by Boom and IDW, and I was like, okay, I'm going to pick up this crossover because this looks like fun. We're going to see. And it turned out I loved it. I absolutely adored it, and it turned out that as silly as I thought that the cartoon Saturday morning shows were, that in comic book form, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers read like any other, bad to the bone superhero adventure comic. It's really good. And so I've become a little bit obsessed. So I asked Ryan, what would you recommend? And he recommended 2 different books. But I was at Books A Million and they were having some sales. And so I picked up Mighty Morphin Volume 1 because I thought, if I'm going to start, I want to start with Volume 1 of whatever story it is. Now, I got to tell you, Ryan Parrott wrote the Power Rangers Ninja Turtle team up, and it was outstanding. The art on that was by Dan Mora, one of my favorite artists. The art on this is done by Marco Renna, and the colorist who adds a lot to this. He adds a lot to the artwork is Walter Biamonte. And the art is really good. It's action-packed. I loved this bad guy, this monster. Let me see if I can find a really good picture here. The panda, the samurai panda. Great idea, great concept, a lot of fun. And so when I saw that Ryan Parrott had written this and he had written that great crossover, I was all in. And to his credit, Ryan Permisson said, pick up the books written by Ryan Parrott. You're going to really enjoy those. So that's the starting place. Oh, here's another great image of the samurai panda fighting the new Green Ranger. It is action-packed. It is fast-paced. The art is gorgeous. However, one of the biggest problems I have with comic series is when they drop the reader in the middle of something that maybe has already happened and where you need to have some background and they don't give it to you in the book itself. Although this starts with issue 1, volume 1, there's all kinds of backstory that is not explained or, expanded on. I got dropped into the middle of this story not knowing a lot of information. Like, why is Lord Zed, well, they think he's dead at first, but he revives. What happened there? There is all of this backstory about the original Rangers on Altair, and then an entire chunk of the story happens off panel. It doesn't even appear in the book, and they reference it where the Omega Rangers free Lord Draken from the prison where Zordon has him, and that's all they say. They don't show it. They don't show Lord Draken. They don't explain who the Omega Rangers are. There's so much missing that I need to have to really enjoy this book. Now, maybe Saban's Go-Go Power Rangers fills in some of those gaps. Maybe the other graphic novels. I think I'm going to pick up the one about Tommy becoming the evil Green Ranger, and I can't remember the name of that. Sorry, Ryan, but and I don't want to say I didn't like this. I enjoyed it, but there was just context missing. And I felt like if this series had taken a little bit more time and filled in those gaps, I would have enjoyed it a little bit more. And there's a lot of backstory with Zordon on Altair that I don't think moved the story along at all. I don't think it really had an impact, and I would have rather they had spent that time establishing the things that happened off panel. Now, I understand that they wanted to set up the whole Eltar thing and Zordon because of this reveal towards the end, Zelia of Eltar is on Earth supervising, and she appears and reveals herself. And then we see who the Green Ranger is, the new Green Ranger. It's been a secret the whole time. It was enjoyable. But if you are looking for a story that is self-contained, that you don't need any other background information, this may not be the best starting place. I got it on sale at $16.99. It's a great value. So if you're a longtime Power Rangers fan, some of these missing pieces may not be missing for you. They may make perfect sense. But for me, I needed a little bit more context. On a scale of 1 to 5 bowls of cereal, I'm going to give this a 3.5 for the stuff that's missing. But I'd love to know your opinion. If you've read Mighty Morphin Volume 1, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now, before we leave, we need to thank our partners and acknowledge one of our partners. Since we're talking about comic books, it's important that we share this message from Comic Books for Kids.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.
Visit cb4k.org.
And speaking of thanking our partners, we need to acknowledge the Murdering Crows. They did our awesome theme song, Can't Beat an Original. And you can get their album, Four Bad Crows, at Amazon, Google, and Apple Music. And of course, our super fans, our cereal box supporters, Sharice Collins, Cindy Kep, Brian Huff, Dave Manginelli, Dave Mattingly, Crystal Raven Jones, Eli Cash, and you too can have your name in lights at buymeacoffee.com/cerealboxpod. And while you're surfing the internet and looking for great reads, check out Night Reich, One Night at the Roxy, The League of Impossibilists. This is my Tales of the Decoverse series, available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Comixology. So check that out and pick those up. And if you love our show, consider making a donation at buymeacoffee.com/cerealboxpod. You can buy us a bowl of cereal, 2, 3, heck, buy us an entire box of cereal. And if you hate the show, contribute even more generously to help us improve it just for you. Well, that's going to be my review of Mighty Morphin Volume 1. You can pick this up at Things from Another World, TFAW, and the link is down below. They are one of our partners. It costs you nothing to order something from them, but every time you do, it helps us out just a little bit. So if you want to check out Mighty Morphin for yourself, you pick it up at Things from Another World, TFAW.com, link down below. And of course, make sure that you like, comment, share, whatever platform you're watching this video on, subscribe, follow, ring the bell, mash the button, do the things, and make sure you share it with 200-300 of your closest friends and family. Ask them to come share the fun. And until the next time, love you, mean it. We'll catch you on the back of the cereal box.